What if we've been trying to solve poverty completely wrong? I mean, what if the answer isn't about more money, or new programs, or even charity, but about architecture? Yeah, you heard that right. Today, we're diving into a pretty radical idea that reframes poverty not as a social issue, but as a structural problem, with a very structural solution.
Okay, so to really wrap our heads around this, we have to kind of throw out our old ways of thinking about the problem. And the source material for this explainer gives us a really powerful metaphor to do just that.
And here it is. This is the central, provocative question of the whole thing. What if poverty is an architectural problem? I mean, just let that sink in for a second. It completely forces us to stop looking at poverty as some kind of personal failure or just a lack of money and start seeing it for what it might actually be, a fundamental design flaw in our society.
So the argument goes something like this. Imagine our civilization is like a giant apartment building. We've built all the upper floors, levels 2, 3, 4, and 5, everything for the middle class and up. We've got nice apartments, fancy condos, the whole shebang. But we completely forgot to build level 1. The ground floor is just missing. So what happens when someone falls? They don't land on a safety net. They fall right through the empty space, straight onto the hard pavement below.
And that brings us to the core proposal here, the level 1 foundation. Now, the key is to stop thinking of this as housing in the traditional sense. It's not a shelter, it's not a project. Think of it more like essential public infrastructure, just like our sewer systems or the power grid. It's a permanent, universal floor that's designed to do one thing: guarantee that no human can ever fall so far that they can't get back up.
Okay, so why is this missing floor so bad? Well, the source argues it creates this absolutely devastating domino effect, a kind of architectural trap that makes it almost impossible to escape once you're in it.
And it all starts with something that sounds so simple, just losing access to a place to wash. I know, it might not seem like a big deal, but according to this model, this is the first domino to fall. And once it goes, it triggers a really rapid collapse. Just think about it for a second. Without that basic hygiene, how are you supposed to show up for a job interview? Or even keep a job you already have? That one missing piece of infrastructure, a shower, can immediately cut you off from the entire economic ladder. All right, here's the next domino to fall. Take away a safe, consistent place to sleep. And this is so critical. This isn't about comfort. It's about your fundamental ability to function. It's about cognitive health, physical energy, and the basic stability your brain needs to even think straight. Because without real sleep, your ability to solve problems, to regulate your emotions, to even just think clearly about a path forward, it completely evaporates. The very energy you need to rebuild your life is literally stolen from you, night after night after night. And all of this leads to the final piece of this brutal trap, the one that basically locks a person out of the system for good. You see how this becomes this impossible, vicious cycle, right? No address means you can't get a job, you can't apply for aid programs, you can't even get mail. You basically become a ghost, invisible to the very systems that are supposed to help. So the point here isn't that it's just a money problem. At its core, this is a total infrastructure failure. But if you define the problem as a missing piece of infrastructure, then the solution, while it's massive, becomes incredibly clear. You just have to build the missing floor. So the solution that's proposed is a single, centralized megastructure. And let's be really clear here, this is not a temporary shelter. Not at all. It's imagined as a permanent public utility. Its only job is to provide the absolute rock-bottom essentials: a safe sleeping pod, automated showers, automated cafeterias, laundry, and above all, safety and consistency. It's a stable foundation you can always count on. Okay, a megastructure. I know what you're thinking. That sounds impossibly expensive, right? Well, could something this massive actually be built? Let's break down the surprising math that the author lays out, using California as a kind of case study.
Okay, so here's how the model works. First, it's a thought experiment. It imagines allocating a hypothetical base housing budget of $20,000 for every single person in the state of California. Now, with California's population, that creates this massive pool of money, around $788 billion. Then you'd take a chunk of that, say about $5,000 per person, and set it aside for operational costs, security, reserves, that kind of thing. And whatever is left over, that entire pot of money is dedicated to just one thing: construction.
And that leaves us with this number, a $600 billion construction budget.
Wow. Now, obviously, securing and spending a fund this huge presents enormous real-world challenges. But the point of this exercise is to show what could be theoretically possible. The source argues that this would be one of the largest humanitarian construction projects in history, enough to create a truly state-of-the-art automated city within a city. But here's what's really interesting. It's the core philosophy behind this whole thing. The goal is the absolute opposite of what you might think. This is not about warehousing people.
And this comparison here just nails the difference in thinking. A warehouse, well, it just stores people. It creates dependency. It's the end of a journey. But this vision, it's for a launch pad. It is designed purely to stabilize people, to create opportunity, and to start a new journey, to launch them upwards.
See, the entire purpose is to prevent that catastrophic collapse we talked about at the beginning. By providing the basics, sleep, safety, food, you're giving a person back their cognitive stability. You're giving them their physical energy. You're basically restoring their foundational ability to function, to plan, and ultimately to help themselves. So let's pull back and put this into a much larger historical context, because this is the final and maybe the most powerful reframe in the whole argument. The idea of these massive infrastructure projects solving our biggest human problems, well, it's nothing new. I mean, just think about it. We built massive sewer systems, and we pretty much wiped out diseases like cholera. We built a power grid, and we eliminated darkness. We built public schools to fight illiteracy. We built the internet to fight knowledge inequality. Each one of these was a massive, foundational leap for civilization. So the source leaves us with this question. Could a level 1 foundation be the next logical piece of infrastructure? The one designed to eliminate the very conditions that allow poverty to exist in the first place? And it all culminates in this final, powerful vision of a new kind of civilization, one where no human being is ever permitted to fall so far that they cannot rise again. The goal isn't just to manage a problem. It's to create a society with a fundamentally different promise, a society that has finally built its missing floor, ensuring that while people might stumble, the architecture of civilization itself will never again let them fall through the cracks.